A landslide sends cars falling off a cliff in North Baltimore.
And that's when the whole wall just, boom, very loud noise, giant plume of dust.
Why some residents say this was a disaster waiting to happen.
The danger from high water.
It's just a lot of water. It's overflowing like everywhere.
How flooding led to rescues and evacuations.
The heavy rain isn't over yet. How much more we could get, how strong winds could create more problems, and when the skies will finally clear in my Weather Authority forecast.
And suing a school.
They didn't care about the kids at all.
Why some Maryland parents say their son's bad grades were not his fault.
Live in high definition from WBFF in Baltimore. This is Fox 45 News at 10.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Gilbert.
And I'm Jeff Barn. 2 days of rain led to a collapsing wall and flooded streets.
And the danger is far from over as the rain continues to fall. In just a few minutes, Chief Meteorologist Vitas Reed will join us live to tell us how much more rain we're expecting.
The continuous rain is causing a lot of dangerous situations all around our viewing area. We begin now with Keith Daniels, where a huge retaining wall collapsed this afternoon. Keith.
Well, yes, the Baltimore City Fire Department just wrapped up a news conference here about 10 minutes ago, giving us the latest as to what's happening here at this hour. They say BGE crews and, of course, the fire department and geophysical engineers are here now testing the ground to see how safe it is. Meantime, residents have not been allowed back into their homes after the ground's sudden collapse and landslide.
Looks really bad. Some of the neighbors are really freaking out.
It's a major landslide.
It's crazy.
On a major city street.
I was just amazed because I walk past it every day with my kids.
Before the collapse,
look at this, we're standing on 26th Street.
The ground began to sink.
A neighbor, banged on my door and said, your car is sinking, your car is sinking.
Then, one by one, they began to fall. At least 10 cars tumbled to the railroad tracks below, with several other vehicles teetering on edge.
It's crazy. The whole street's sunk in, and there's a lot of cars down there.
It happened at about 4 o'clock. Part of an entire block along 26th Street near North Charles collapsed, carrying cars and mud to the ground below. Neighbors say they heard rumbling and their building shook before they realized what happened.
It looked like, it almost looked like an earthquake had come through. It was like a crack in the sidewalk and the concrete. And as we were standing around looking at it, wondering how we were going to get our cars out, the whole wall went.
Boom, very loud noise, giant plume of dust.
In the end, no one hurt, but one city block nearly crumbles away.
Sidewalk's gone, though half of the wall that goes to the train tracks are gone.
Now, we're also told tonight that the Margaret Brent Elementary School, which is located at the end of the block, there will be no classes at the school tomorrow. They tell us teachers and students are being contacted tonight. Now, we're told that 19 houses, not sure how many residents, but 19 houses have been affected by this. They, again, have to stay elsewhere tonight until they're told it's safe to come back. Well, live now in North Baltimore, Keith Daniels, Fox 45 News.
Thank you, Keith. And the wicked weather caused widespread damage throughout the region. Tonight in West Baltimore, a large tree in Druid Hill Park toppled into the street. Several trees in the park fell down today as the ground became saturated.
Now all of a sudden I heard what I thought was thunder and didn't notice any lightning. It's kind of like, that's weird. And I thought about it for a second. I'm like, I know what that was.
Some cars were damaged by the falling trees, but there are no reports of injuries in that situation tonight. Well, a very dangerous situation in Mount Washington this evening. Take a look. This is what it looked like this evening. You can see the water rushing all along Falls Road there. The Jones Falls overflowing near the bridge there in Mount Washington, almost going right over that bridge, flowing into the road. This was a very dangerous situation. You could see the fire trucks responding there. They had a situation of crowd control, people that were coming out to take a look, and obviously not safe to be traveling or even lingering in that area. Very dangerous. Our Karen Parks live in Mount Washington tonight with an update on what is going on at this hour. Karen.
Well,
Well, Jennifer, we were heading into Mount Washington, but let me tell you what happened. As soon as we got here to Falls and Northern, we were here at the light. A BGE truck rushed past us and the street was shut down. We were told we could go no further. Right now, again, we are here at Falls and Northern. But let me show you video of Mount Washington that was taken just a few hours ago. Now, you mentioned that the waters continue to rise right there at Falls and Smith over the Jones Falls. They say the water at the bridge rose at least a foot, shutting down area businesses like Whole Foods and Starbucks, which closed at around 2 o'clock today. Shortly after that, the bridge at Smith and Falls was shut down. But residents, they don't seem to be fazed. They call it the lovely Falls Road flood.
We're here in Mount Washington. It's kind of chaos out here. The parking lot's flooding. We get this pretty often. It's just chaos.
It's come up about a foot or more in the last 10 minutes, so I have a feeling it's not done yet.
Now again, we are here at Falls and Northern, and once again, this entire stretch of road all the way past the bridge, past Smith Avenue, has been shut down, so stay clear of it. But we will keep you updated. No word as to when this road may be opened. Reporting live here in North Baltimore, Karen Parks, Fox 45 News.
Thanks so much, Karen. Now, as the rain continues to fall as we speak, the water continues to rise all around our viewing area in Baltimore, of course. Let's take a live look right now. You're looking at a flooded road in the Clipper Mill area. As it looks like they're doing a K-turn here. I don't know whether it's because of the flooded roads or not. Right now, obviously, you're looking at a parking lot, but let's take a look at some of the fallout from that road. Okay, now you can see on the side there, it seems to be very dry on the crown of the road, but as you get to the sides, quite obviously, because of the angle of the road, there are some flooded areas. So if you have to go out, bottom line, and drive at this time of the day, it is much better than it was 8 hours ago. However, just take your time because there is nowhere else for this water to go on the roads in this area. You can see a few puddles there, of course, and that's when you have to take your time because of potential of hydroplaning. And no one wants to see that happen. So again, if you have to drive at this hour of the night, it's much better than it was 8 hours ago. Still, there are some troubled spots simply because there is nowhere else for the water to go.
Well, where water hasn't covered the roads, it's been getting dangerously close. We found this scene earlier today at the top of the JFX near Ruxton Road. The Jones Falls flows close to the interstate there. You can see in this video a car actually slid off the road there and people were trying to get it out. Baltimore County has a posted list of roads that are closed because of the flooding, and there is a link on our website. Just go to foxbaltimore.com/newslinks. And we are a long way from clear skies.
Chief Meteorologist Vetus Reed joining us tonight. Vetus, what's going to happen over the next few hours? It seems to be tapering off from those live shots we saw from the car just a few seconds ago.
Well, you know, this forecast was right on, talking about heavy rainfall for the next couple of days, and here it is. The forecast was about 3 to 5 inches across the area. Looking at D.C., 3.92 inches so far in the last 48 hours, 4.15 inches here in the metro area around Baltimore, and then you get up towards Wilmington, Delaware, 4.54 inches. So you can see some of the core of the heaviest rainfall. Look at Fredericksburg at 4.80, close to 5 inches of rain. And this is the core right between that D.C. area and Baltimore area, stretching up to Wilmington along the I-95 corridor that got the heaviest amounts of rain, which was all flowing into those tributaries, into the streams, creeks, and rivers, creating a lot of rise of water out there, especially on the roadways, a lot of puddling water, creating hazardous driving conditions through much of the day. Looking at the current advisories across the area, we have aerial flood warnings in place all across the central portion of the state, across the city, looking at coastal flood warnings for Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Anne Arundel County. Looking at the radar, the good thing is right now we are seeing a little bit of a lightening up of the rain. Still a few remaining showers. The heaviest shower activity now is up across the Pennsylvania state line over towards Oxford. Looks like we'll continue to see more breaks in the rain through the overnight, and we'll start to see this storm pull out of here. There's going to be a nice forecast coming our way, but we have to get rid of this rain, let the flooding go down before we get the all clear. I'll talk more about that coming up in my forecast.
All right, Vetus, thanks so much. We look forward to hearing from you again. When dangerous storms like this move into the state of Maryland, take the power of the Weather Authority Storm Center with you. Download the Fox 45 weather app. It includes live radar and our Futurecast tool. You can also look at the 10-day planner or get an hour-by-hour forecast. All you have to do is download the Weather Authority app now from the Apple Store or your Droid Marketplace. Just search for WBFF, and the weather app is free.
Well, the hard rain has created a disgusting mess for neighbors along Abbotston Street. Several homes were flooded with raw sewage. Melinda Roeder found out. They say this isn't the first time it's happened.
I'm tired. I'm fed up. I want the city to do what it needs to do to stop this.
Sharon Thomas shows us around her basement.
That's the dehumidifier right.
Flooded with raw sewage.
Crap. Pampers. Toilet paper. It's sickening.
She says this happens every time we get a hard rain.
The water has been up to here.
She's reported it to the city, but this smelly situation never gets resolved.
I can't renovate it. I can't sell it. I can't rent it. I can't do anything. And the city just says, we'll come out and flush the lines. There's nothing we can do.
It's a similar story up and down this block of Abbotston Street.
This is the third time this month.
Keith Robinson keeps trying to clean it up for his tenants to no avail. The wastewater just keeps rising.
So it comes up out of the shower and the toilet.
With all this raw sewage down here, they've been unable to use anything on the bottom level. Not their restroom, not their bedroom, not the laundry here either. And pretty much all of their belongings are either ruined or they've been bagged up in plastic.
Us living like this is just ridiculous.
They've seen everything. If you can flush it, it's in their basement.
I don't understand why they can't fix the problem.
They used to be work boots, but now they sewage boots.
Sharon's shelled out a fortune for remediation experts to clean up. Now she's hoping by speaking out, residents might get a refund or at least some long overdue relief.
This is too much.
Melinda Roeder, Fox 45 News.
Well, Fox 45 called the City Department of Public Works, who blame the backups on limited infrastructure. They say there is simply nowhere for the water to go. But they have dispatched a crew to begin pumping out the water. They also say that they will inspect the pipeline within the next few days to see if they can engineer a solution. Well, we asked you to show us what it looks like in your neighborhood.
Natasha sent us this photograph of the flooding at Scotts Hill Park in Pikesville, and you could clearly see how high the water level is on those trees.
Yeah, in fact, the water has already reached the streets. Take a look at Scotts Hill Drive. The rain has flooded roadways across the area, making many impassable tonight.
When it comes to news like this in your neighborhood, see it, shoot it, said it. You can upload photos and videos to our website. Simply go to foxbaltimore.com and click on the see it, shoot it, send it icon. You can also send photos directly from your cell phone to pics at foxbaltimore.com.
A high schooler takes on 2 police officers, and it's caught on camera.
What happened moments earlier that led to this scene and the reason police are under fire now from witnesses?
A fiery train derailment in Virginia, how it led to a second rescue operation, and why the area had to be evacuated.
And I'm Joy LaPola live in Mays Landing, New Jersey, where Ravens running back Ray Rice is expected to appear in about 10 hours. I'll have details on his court case coming up.
And the rain still continues across parts of the area as we take a look at HD radar. Heaviest rain to the north and to the southeast of the city. Looks like still a little more that we have to deal with tonight. I'll show you how long you'll stick around and what's coming next in our forecast in just a bit.
Ravens running back Ray Rice is expected to appear in court tomorrow in Mays Landing, New Jersey, just outside of Atlantic City, where in February, police arrested the 3-time Pro Bowler. Crime and Justice reporter Joy LaPola is streaming live outside the courthouse now, where tomorrow's hearing will be held in about, as Joy said, about 10 hours from now. Joy.
Jeff, Ray Rice's attorney tells me that the Ravens running back does plan to attend his arraignment tomorrow, a hearing that stems from an alleged assault that occurred between Rice and his then fiancée just hours after the two celebrated Valentine's Day in Atlantic City.
Police arrested Ravens running back Ray Rice and his then fiancée, Janae Palmer, in the early morning hours of February 15th. Both were accused of simple assault. Prosecutors later indicated that the 3-time Pro Bowler assaulted Palmer by, quote, striking her with his hand, rendering her unconscious. a fight that took place inside Revel Casino in Atlantic City. This video shows an unconscious Palmer being dragged off an elevator by Rice. A security guard approaches the two a few minutes later. For fans, many felt let down by the man and player they had come to love and cheer for on the field.
The kids in Baltimore, they all look up to the Ravens players.
We tried numerous times to speak with Rice about the incident and the surveillance video.
I have to ask if there's any statement that Mr. Rice is releasing regarding the TMZ video.
Either Rice wasn't home or he had no comment. In March, a grand jury indicted the Ravens running back on third-degree aggravated assault, a more serious offense than the original simple assault he faced. The charge against Palmer was dropped. The two married the very next day. We spoke with a local attorney about the case to gain some insight.
The real issue for the prosecution is this a case that can be proved with or without Janae's testimony?
With all eyes now on Rice's court case, even if he is cleared of all charges or receives probation, he could still face disciplinary action from the league under its personal conduct policy. Now, before a possible suspension is even discussed, Ray Rice first needs to get through tomorrow's hearing. Reporting live in Mays Landing, New Jersey tonight, Joy LaPola, Fox 45 News.
Thank you, Joy. Fox 45 will have live coverage from inside that courtroom in Mays Landing, New Jersey tomorrow morning. We'll show you the hearing live on Fox 45 Morning News and then stream it live on our website, foxbaltimore.com.
A Baltimore City police officer is behind bars in York, Pennsylvania, accused of shooting a man in what appears to be a love triangle. Officer John Torres is charged with attempted homicide. Police say he opened fire on David Homan Sr., unloading 14 rounds and hitting him 6 times as he sat in his car outside of Torres's apartment. The shooting appears to be the result of a dispute between the two men over Homan's wife. Torres said he was afraid Homan had a shotgun with him and was going to kill him. Torres is the same officer who shot and killed off-duty police officer Norman Stamp outside of a bar 6 years ago.
A fiery scene in Lynchburg, Virginia after a train carrying crude oil suddenly derails. A witness took this cell phone video of very heavy smoke and flames coming from the CSX train. At least 12 of the cars derailed and at least 3 of those cars were leaking oil. Crews on the scene were working to remove a part of the train that trapped workers in a nearby pipe foundry. So far, no injuries reported there, but hundreds in the area have been evacuated. An apparent disagreement among the Democratic candidates for governor over whether Baltimore should get its own televised debate. Fox 45 began negotiating with the Democratic campaigns back in November in hopes of securing a debate right here at our studios. Well, today, the Anthony Brown campaign released a statement it would do 2 televised debates, one in Washington, D.C., and one at Maryland Public Television. A third debate would be on the radio in Baltimore City. The Doug Gansler and Heather Mazier campaigns immediately responded that they had not agreed to the radio debate and they intend to participate in the Fox 45 program. So we reached out to the Anthony Brown camp and they say they will not be taking part in the Fox 45 debate. Now, we maintain it's our responsibility to serve the public with as many opportunities as possible to hear the candidates. Fox 45 is moving forward with this debate and will keep a chair open for the lieutenant governor as we continue to negotiate his taking part in it. We'll have more details, including the date of the debate and the time, very soon. Road collapses are also happening in other areas, getting a lot of rain. This one collapsed in a scenic portion of Pensacola, Florida. 2 cars were trapped in this one, falling about 40 feet when the road suddenly gave out. It's estimated 15 to 20 inches of rain has fallen in the past 24 hours there. Meantime, one family in the state of Missouri has a frightening story from these storms. Dwayne Clark had just gone to bed when he heard what he calls a sonic explosion. Branches and pieces of debris suddenly slamming through the bedroom ceiling, just missing their 2 children, Miley and Temperance.
Temperance, now she was in her bedroom, and as soon as we got up and I ran in there, she was just really wide-eyed and just daddy, 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 and I grabbed her and we went outside and she's like, there's a tree in our house.
Clark says their house is a complete and total loss, and most of what was inside is also destroyed, but they are very thankful tonight that everyone made it out okay. Flooded roads led to dozens of road closures in the region. We don't have to tell you that, but some motorists opted to ignore the warnings.
In Elkridge, Furnace Avenue is being swallowed by deep run. Many nearby residents took their chances driving right through the water, as you can see there, rather than taking the long detour. The current was swift, and it's carrying everything from tree limbs to trash.
I know you need a boat. Need a boat and some paddles.
Well, fortunately, there are no reports of motorists who had to be rescued at that particular location, at least at last check.
It's been a very rough couple of days here, and before we're talking about rain, but today was just downright dangerous.
Yeah, it went from inconvenient to very dangerous.
Yeah.
Chief Meteorologist Vitas Reed is standing by to let us know when things will finally come to an end. Vitas.
Well, we're talking about a lot of water coming down, and when you have a large amount of water in a short period of time coming down with the ground already being saturated, you're going to get a lot of rising water and water runoff, and that's what we've been seeing out there. Look at this, 4.5 inches of rainfall in Baltimore. Looking at 4.54 up there in Wilmington. Once again, 4.15 here in Baltimore. 3.92 inches in D.C. Down in Fredericksburg, looking at 4.80. We're talking about the heaviest core of rainfall right between northern Virginia, Baltimore, and then into northern Delaware, right along that I-95 corridor. That's why we do have those advisories in the form of flood warnings all across central Maryland as we go through the overnight. Looks like the rain has tapered off just a tad bit, which is good news. The heaviest showers up in parts of Pennsylvania and Delaware. Still a few scattered showers down towards parts of northern Virginia and towards Montgomery County. But it looks like we still have a chance for a little more rain tonight. But good news in the forecast coming. I'm going to show you how we're going to get brighter and better as we get towards the weekend coming up.
That would be nice.
All right, thank you, Vitas. Well, many of you have seen some incredible scenes of all of this rain.
One viewer sent us a couple of videos, and you could see what should be a small river clearly overflowing here. Sticks and branches being washed downstream with all that flowing water.
And here's another video, the water flowing over this road, creating a very dangerous driving situation for everyone trying to cross it.
So when it comes to news like this in your neighborhood, we certainly appreciate all your videos. You take part in this newscast by doing so. All you have to do is see it, shoot it, send it. You can upload photos and videos to our website. Just go to foxbaltimore.com and click on the see it, shoot it, send it icon. You can also send photos directly, of course, from your cell phone to pics at foxbaltimore.com.
A fight between a high school student and two police officers.
What happened moments earlier that led to this? Next on Fox 45, News at 10. And you're looking live now at that landslide collapse that took place earlier this afternoon. It's been raining for about 24 hours now, causing a lot of dangerous problems like this collapse on 26th Street. Live updates from the scene of the retaining wall collapse and the flooding in Mount Washington as well. It's all coming up in about 5 minutes on Fox 45 News at 10. A fight between a student and police officers at a high school in Boise, Idaho is all caught on tape. You can see the officer and a school employee wrestling with a 17-year-old student. Now, according to police, a school administrator had told the student to leave the property following an earlier disturbance, but that student refused. The school resource officer then tried to escort the student out, grabbing him by the arm, and police say that's when the teen started punching the officer. Many say it was excessive force, however, by the officer and school staff. The teen, however, is now facing some serious charges tonight, and the incident is currently under investigation.
A woman falls onto the train tracks in Philadelphia. Surveillance cameras show the woman standing on the SEPTA platform when she suddenly steps right off the edge, falling onto the tracks and coming into contact with the electrified third rail. Witnesses ran for help. You can see them there. And track workers performing maintenance down the tunnel radioed the SEPTA control center. Paramedics responded very quickly. The woman was on the way to the hospital within 15 minutes, and at last word, she was listed in serious condition.
And coming up, more on the ground collapse in Charles Village, while some neighbors say they're not surprised that it happened. We'll have that story just ahead.
And parents in Montgomery County sue their son's school over his academic failure. What happened in court? That's after the break.
And we've seen plenty of rainfall coming down. It's still raining in the area, not as hard, but still a chance for more showers through the overnight. I'm going to show you how much we're going to be left with and when this stuff will finally make its way out of here, coming up in my Weather Authority forecast.
A Montgomery County couple recently sued their son's private school in Potomac because they say the school let their son fail academically. Janice Park joins us now to tell us what happened today in court. Janice.
Hi, Jeff. A Montgomery County judge dismissed the lawsuit, but the parents are now appealing after spending big bucks on their son's education and 11 college rejection letters. On its website, Private School Bullis explains it's for families seeking an extraordinary educational experience.
To me, they were all about money. They didn't care about the kids at all.
That claim is just one reason the Bramson family says they sued the school after spending $150,000 on their son's education. Max is pictured here with the Obamas.
Certainly wasn't about a grade. It was definitely on their part of not caring.
The couple says the Bullis school breached their contract by not giving their son the attention that he deserved. The Bramsons say it caused Max his junior year to slip, getting a D in honors biology. In all, Max was rejected from 11 colleges, including the University of Maryland.
If they cared about my son, they would have notified me that he was doing poorly in this class. And his advisor would have advised him. His advisor never advised him.
Despite their complaints, published reports say the judge quickly threw out their lawsuit. The Bullis school responded tonight saying, "We are pleased the judge ruled for Bullis in the summary judgment. We understand that an appeal has been filed, and we haven't seen that yet. Because this is an active case, we have no further comment." The suit didn't go anywhere. It's to be seen if the appeal will.
Because they've ruined my son's, high school and college experience. I mean, they've just completely ruined it.
And the family says since Max was rejected from every single school that he applied to, he is now at Montgomery Community College. Janice Park, Fox 45 News.
Thank you very much, Janice. Now, here's our question for you. Here it is. Should parents be able to sue over a child's bad grade? We got a lot of responses to this, incidentally, very interesting ones at that. Lorenzo, for instance, stop babying these kids and take responsibility for their actions. Then we hear from Katie. If there is clear proof that the teacher is incompetent and the school is also, then yes. But more than likely, their kid isn't doing what they are supposed to, and the parents are too lazy to make sure they do their work. Then we hear from Deborah. Where are the parents' responsibility in teaching the child? Maybe they should sue each other. What do you think about this? All you have to do is join the discussion right now. Just go to facebook.com/Fox Baltimore.
Our big story tonight, 2 days of rain leading to this landslide in North Baltimore tonight. Our Keith Daniels joining us live again from the scene. And Keith, apparently some people were not actually surprised that this happened.
Well, Jennifer, the Baltimore Fire Department tells us tonight that several crews remain here on the scene here, including BGE and engineers. They're testing the ground to see how safe it is here. And take a look behind me. You can see where they've moved in more Jersey walls to block off the street here. It's another precaution. And as another precaution, 19 homes have been evacuated after that alarming landslide. Now, before the collapse, the ground began to sink. Neighbors captured it on cell phone video. Then one by one, they began to fall. At least 10 cars tumbled about 75 feet to the railroad tracks below, with several other vehicles teetering on edge. It happened at about 4 o'clock today. Part of the entire block along 26th Street collapsed. Some neighbors say they knew it was a dangerous situation, waiting to happen.
We knew this one was going to cave in because you could see the cracks getting wider and wider. And several neighbors have called the city over the past year. They patched it with blacktop, but over the winter, because of the snow, it just kept cracking.
Well, fortunately, no one was hurt. School officials say Margaret Brent Elementary School, which is at the end of the block here, will be closed tomorrow. Another precaution until officials can determine that this area is safe. We're live now in North Baltimore. Keith Daniels, Fox 45 News.
All right, Keith, a few people in other parts of the city rescued their cars just in time. We're not kidding here. One man had parked near the JFX in Meadow Mill and thought he was okay at first, but the water just kept getting higher, so he decided to rescue his car by stripping down to his underwear.
Wow.
Yes, and wading in to avoid flooding the interior of his car. Watch this. He goes through the hatchback, and you can see the exhaust bubbling up through the water as he drives to higher ground. That car started up. This should be a great advertisement for Volkswagen. Or no, that's a Ford, like I said. Well, no, it shouldn't be a great advertisement for Volkswagen. Should be a better one for Ford. All right, now the man says taking off his clothes to rescue his car seemed like the best thing to do at the time.
I could have waded through in the clothes, but I figured, you know what, it's already a mess. I don't want this to fail, and then I'm ended up with soaking wet clothes as well, so I tried to hedge my bets a little bit, and hopefully they all pay off for me.
He rescued his car in his underwear, and apparently he also interviewed us in his underwear. Now, the rising water is taking some very large objects downstream. The JFX swept away that trailer underneath the JFX in Clipper Mill. If you were watching our newscast at 5, we saw that thing teetering. The road, of course, impossible now to drive on. Karen Parks joining us live from upstream along the JFX in Mount Washington. Karen, this is an area all too familiar with flooding.
Well, Jeff, let me tell you what happened. We were heading into Mount Washington when they suddenly shut down this road here at Falls and Northern. Just in the past few minutes, several emergency cars, as you see in front of us, passed us heading into Mount Washington. Now, let's show you video from just a few hours ago. The road was closed at Falls and Smith, where the water at the Jones Falls rose at least a foot, flooding the area. Cars could be seen floating along Falls Road as they attempted to cross the waters. But we did learn no one was inside this car when officials finally reached it.
I think they weren't too intelligent to be trying to drive through a couple feet of water.
They're worried about the safety of everybody, and this has always had a problem of flooding.
Now again, we are here at Falls and Northern. The road has been shut down all the way past Smith Avenue, past the bridge. No word on when this road will reopen. Reporting live here in North Baltimore, Karen Parks, Fox 45 News.
A man rescues his car in his undies there.
You know what?
Talk about dramatic video.
That was.
Almost
I
takes
never
the cake.
tell people to go in water for no reason. Now,
Yes.
that wasn't a flowing river. It was flooded area, it looks like. So, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
That was the most amazing video I've seen so far. That's
I've
why
never
your mom
seen
always
anything
says,
like it.
Yeah,
wear
and-
clean
as
underwear.
Clean underwear.
As
There
you,
you go.
as you
Case in
say,
point.
we should have had music as he was stripping before going for his car.
Man, okay, we've seen a lot of interesting video, a lot of stuff that has gone on, a lot of things happening with this water coming down, and it has been unprecedented. I think this is like the fourth wettest April that we've seen, spring season that we've seen ever since 1871. So we're talking about a lot of water out there. So taking a look at what we've seen, take a look at this video. This is a video I shot earlier today up off of Green Spring, just north of 695. Now, this is generally a small little creek, and right there it usually flows where those beams are. It has overtaken the entire valley. So a lot of water rushing, and if you are caught in that, you could be swept away. That's what's powerful, the power of nature, and you do not want that to ever happen. Showers are going to be tapering tonight, which is good news. Winds will pick up. That's the bad news. We could see the winds pick up a little bit overnight as the front gets closer, and that could cause problems because of the ground being so saturated. It can knock down big trees into power lines, creating a lot of power outages, so we have to watch that closely. Finally, the sun returns. That's the good news, the light at the end of the tunnel, literally. Looking at 4.54 inches up in Wilmington, Delaware, 4.15 inches, 3.92 in D.C., and then 4.80 over in Fredericksburg. Lighter amounts over in Salisbury, as well as 1.12 over in Hagerstown. This is a 48-hour rain total. The core of the rain was along that I-95 corridor, so we were right in that bullseye of getting some of the heaviest rain. The culprit is this area of low pressure that was a very slow-moving low. That was sitting over near Omaha 2 days ago. Look at the distance it traveled, only a couple hundred miles. Ahead of it was the warm, moist air coming up out of the Gulf. Gulf. That Gulf warm stream of air was just fueling up and just driving that moisture right into the mid-Atlantic. We are seeing flood advisories all across central Maryland through the overnight. Also coastal flood advisories for Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Anne Arundel County down towards D.C. as we have that rising water out there. So take note of that. The heaviest rain now has moved to the north. We still have some remaining light showers off to the west. We still can get a little bit of rain out there for the next couple hours. Taking a look right now, you can see that's where that wall collapsed. 63 degrees right now in Baltimore with clouds actually breaking a little bit, which is good news. We'll continue to see more breaks in the clouds through the overnight. Temperatures right now in the mid-60s across the state. We're actually going to see those temperatures increase as the front moves on to the through the area. Looking at those rain showers pushing on off to the east, a slight chance maybe in the afternoon for a little pop-up shower, but it looks like we'll get more sun than clouds as we go down the road here. Showers coming to an end through the overnight into tomorrow morning, 60 degrees tomorrow. Breaks in the clouds, high of 75. I'll break down your 7-day forecast and show you when we really dry out coming up.
Thank you, Vitas. Tomorrow morning will be a mess. You need our new Fox 45 Morning News app. You can see all the latest headlines and traffic trouble. And, of course, it's also an alarm clock. The best part is it's free. You can install it by searching for WBFF in your app store. The Maryland man named Teacher of the Year. Why he wasn't in class today. In just 10 minutes on Fox 45 News at 10. Record profits and big tax deductions have the oil and gas industry under the microscope. While some want the deductions to end, the industry argues it's playing by the rules and creating jobs. The oil and gas industry is big business in America. In the first 9 months alone of 2013, the top 5 companies earned a combined $71 billion in profits. Economists argue those profits were made in part because of huge tax breaks. Aniban Basu is an economist.
In any given year, it adds up to several billions of dollars.
But the oil and gas industry disagrees with that characterization.
These are not tax credits. There is no instance where Uncle Sam is giving taxpayer money to our industry or to our companies.
The American Petroleum Institute, which represents more than 600 oil and gas companies, argues its members don't get subsidies or tax breaks. API says they get tax deductions allowed by the U.S. tax code.
We're able to recover ordinary and necessary business expenses.
Watchdog groups say big businesses can call tax breaks whatever they want, but the Taxpayers for Common Sense issued a statement saying, quote, "This is an industry that does not need any more federal handouts."
The tax break should go to the people putting gas in their cars and not necessarily the companies that are providing the gasoline.
Oh, sure, from the perspective of the taxpayer, they say you should be paying more and then we could pay less. But if also the taxpayer has a greater chance of now having a job, one that pays more money, well, again, the economics of that are pretty complicated.
API agrees.
If we're spending money, if we're generating jobs, if we're growing the economy, we should be able to recover those costs.
Many economists are skeptical that restructuring of the tax code will happen anytime soon.
Emails just made public suggest that National Security Advisor Susan Rice, then National Security Advisor Susan Rice, was encouraged to take part in a cover-up following a deadly attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya. In a message sent just 3 days after the 2012 attack, an assistant to the president wrote, quote, "Underscore that these protests are rooted in an online video and not a broader failure or policy." The group Judicial Watch gathered the documents as part of a federal lawsuit.
If this is not a smoking gun, proving beyond any doubt that the story told by the administration about Benghazi was politically motivated and fabricated, nothing will ever prove that.
A National Security Council spokesperson downplayed the content of the emails, saying they reflect what the administration thought was true at the time, but never explained if that were the case, why put out that memo in the first place.
We are still dealing with the damaging effects of all of the rain that we've had over the past 24 hours.
Yeah, it's been a bad day. Very, very dangerous conditions outside today. Let's go to Chief Meteorologist Vitas Reed to find out when all this is going to end. Vitas.
Yeah, it's going to take about a day or so for this really to settle down as far as the flowing out of those water areas that are really flooded out there. Talking about drying conditions for the next couple of days, which is good news. 75 for our high tomorrow. We'll see a 40% chance for a little stray pop-up shower in the afternoon, but we'll get some breaks in the clouds. 69 69 on Friday, plenty of sunshine, 70 on Saturday, 67 on Sunday. Looking at the weekend, nice and clear, which is fabulous, and holding on to dry conditions into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. Looking at those temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. So things are going to get brighter and better, folks, but we have to just get through this night of the rain, the flooding conditions, to let those waterways just drain on out, and then we'll start to get some clearing finally across the central Maryland region. Back to you.
Ozzie Newsome talking about the draft, and a transferring Terp has found a place to land. Bruce Cunningham has those stories next in Sports Unlimited.
And the Maryland man named National Teacher of the Year. His passion for teaching when the News at 10 continues.
For the second straight night, the Orioles were rained out. They and the Pirates will use tomorrow's off day to play a doubleheader beginning at 4:05. Tickets from Tuesday and Wednesday will be honored. It's the first time since 2000 that back-to-back games have been rained out at Camden Yards. College hoops and a homegrown former Terp has found a new place to play. Nick Faust out of City College has decided to transfer from Maryland to Oregon State. A rising senior, Faust will have to sit out a year to play for the Beavers, who are coached by presidential brother-in-law Craig Robinson. Faust averaged 9.6 points per game for the Terps last season. Owings Mills, the Ravens held their annual pre-draft media event today. With the 17th pick in next week's draft, they're almost exactly in the middle. Ozzie Newsome, a former #1 pick himself, says sitting at 17 gives him some flexibility.
And if we move back for 4, 5, or 6 spots, we may still have the opportunity to get to one or two of those players and get the additional pick. So that's kind of how we look at it. Can we pick at 17? We'll be prepared to pick at 17, but we'll be entertaining, trades to be able to move back if we have to, if we want to.
Covered the whole gamut there, didn't he? Will the Ray Rice situation affect the Ravens' draft plans? Morgan Ansah takes a look at that question at 11:30 as Sports Unlimited continues.
Thank you, Bruce. He's already been named Maryland's Teacher of the Year, but Sean McComb has a new honor today. He is the National Teacher of the Year.
And John Rydell says the students at Patapsco High School are celebrating as we speak.
Hey, guys.
Sean McComb has discovered that when you're named National Teacher of the Year, you're suddenly in high demand. McComb was in Washington today being interviewed by national reporters, but he took a few moments via Skype to thank his students back at Patapsco High.
I'm just happy to bring this positive attention to teachers and the work that we do every day.
He always has a way to relate to students, because he's helped me out through a lot throughout the years, and he always has a way to be well, when I was your age, I went through a similar thing.
McComb, who's 30 years old, teaches a special curriculum that prepares his students for entering college.
One, he's funny. Two, he really relates what we do in class to how it affects us in our life or outside the classroom.
Patapsco's principal says McComb's success is no fluke. It's a combination of passion and hard work.
Late nights and long weekends, grading papers, working on lesson plans. Mr. McComb is the consummate professional.
Despite his many accolades, Sean McComb will not be returning to Patapsco High next year. Instead, he'll be embarking on a year-long educational sabbatical.
But there's some pretty cool trips lined up to Japan and China and maybe Great Britain, and those will be incredible learning experiences as well.
But that's next year. McComas tells his students that on Thursday he'll be at the White House, where he'll be honored by President Obama.
I mean, I'm not surprised that he got to meet the president. I just didn't think that somebody from Dundalk could become Teacher of the Year. And that was really cool to hear that. My favorite teacher is meeting Obama tomorrow.
In Dundalk, John Rydell, Fox 45 News.
Quite an honor. Patapsco High School is planning a special ceremony to honor McComb sometime next week. Celebrating 75 years of wedded bliss. What this couple says is the secret to their successful marriage.
And coming up in just 5 minutes on the Late Edition, cars go over a cliff in the Baltimore City landslide. What is happening at the scene right now to deal with this very unstable situation? And a bad day for college football's Heisman Trophy winner. Why he's in trouble with the law for the second time in less than a year.
This is a testament to absolute, clear, true love here. A New Jersey couple celebrating 75 years of marital bliss.
It's pretty amazing. Julio and Clara
Yeah.
Sobrana renewing their vows on their diamond wedding anniversary. They tied the knot in 1939. Wow. And while that's impressive, they actually started dating in 1933. The two share a lot in common, of course. They're both Italian-American, both born and bred in New Jersey, and both 99 years old. Wow. So what's their secret to a long-lasting relationship? Well, the couple says they never go to bed angry, and they always forgive.
It's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?